Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Run the Receipts. I am your host, Mr. Receipts. Thank y'all for being here. Today, we're going to watch a video from Students for Life of America with Kristen Hawkins. For those of you who are not familiar with her, she travels all across America and she does a lot of speakings at, universities and other places. She's all over social media and she's an advocate for anti-abortion. And I appreciate this lady. I've been watching her for at least about 4 or 5 years. And like I said, she's been everywhere. She's very informative and she'll challenge anybody. And she's been doing her research forever and a day. So she knows the effects of, the murder of children. But she spoke to a gentleman today, and we never get this side of the story. This is a gentleman whose fiance, I believe it's his fiance. Let's just say, it's his fiance or whatever. I just know it was his girl. We never really hear the man's side of abortion and how it affects them and their mindset. So we're going to listen to a gentleman today, and then we're going to do a little bit of commentary on him. So let's get started.
As my friend said, we drove quite a little bit to be here today. Before I get into my question, I just wanted to say my daughter's name is Clementine. She was 5 months along when she was aborted in New Jersey. My daughter was healthy. I begged her mother not to go through with the abortion. For 5 months, we went back and forth. I don't hate my ex.
Condolences to the man because, it's really troubling him. You can tell it's weighing on him big time. Not sure, obviously, if it's his first child or whatnot, but, it's irrelevant. But, to have this happen to you and, listen to the gentleman talk about 5 months, he tried to go back and forth with his girl about not killing a child. And that's why I always tell you men and women that you have to know the person that you laying down with and what their ideologies are. Because if it doesn't line up with how you believe and how you see things, it can be a big issue in your relationship. And this is a huge issue. He's going to die knowing that he had a daughter out there and he tried his hardest to fight. But the laws in America and then the woman that you're dealing with have the right to murder your child and you have no say-so in it. And that's a tough thing that you have to live with that. And, part of it goes into the partner that we choose, and I'll say it. A lot of us see the signs and we decide to just do it anyway, hoping that the good in us will rub off on them, or they just see me as a good person or you as a good person. And you hope that they see what kind of person that you are and it forces them to change. And we hold our hopes on that. And a lot of times it doesn't end up being like that. You usually get taken advantage of. But, the point is you see the signs and you decide to do it anyway. And that's what happened to this gentleman. This is not a one-time argument that they've had. He's been seeing things, but he loved this woman blindly. And now he got himself in a predicament that he got her pregnant. And then it took him 5 months to try to convince her not to murder the child. And she did it anyway. And here we are. Let's continue.
Back and forth. I don't hate my ex. I love her. And I'm working on forgiving her.
And I'm going to say it. He said, I don't hate my ex. So she's your ex for a reason. And despite knowing what she did, the man says that I love her. I'm not telling you to hate anyone, but what I'm saying is the way that he's expressing his love for her, she has no reason to show any type of remorse for what she did. She murdered your child. She murdered her child. If that was a stranger who did that, someone that you didn't know came down the street, you had your baby in a stroller, and Lord forbid something happened to your daughter, you would be irate. You would want them to throw that person under the jail, if not a loss of life. But yeah, you have a woman that's in your life and you tried for 5 months to tell her not to murder our child. She did it anyway. And then you sit here and I tell you, brothers, you got to be mindful, because women out there, man, to get you to let your guard down, like this gentleman, they play on you. So she's gonna cry. She's gonna say, I didn't want to do it. She's gonna say it's somebody else's fault. She's gonna say anything that she possibly can to convince you that she had nothing to do with it. And then we'll just forgive him like that. And Lord forbid you get to a point where now he's laying with her again. You want to keep your daughter's memory alive, Clementine, but you gonna get back with the person who murdered her? I hope that'll never be the case, but the way he's talking, it seemed like it's not far-fetched to believe something like that. Let's continue.
She was confused, she was uncertain, and she had doubts.
Confused, uncertain, doubts. It's kind of vague to understand where he's going with it. You know, he's not gonna elaborate, but I'm not sure what anybody thinks what would happen if you have a relationship with somebody. I don't know how long they've been together, but there's a huge likelihood of her getting pregnant. That comes with sex. So confused about what? Because every adult would understand and should understand that if you lay down with somebody, there's a high likelihood that, over a course of time, years, I'm assuming they've been together that long, a baby can come out of this. So I don't know what the confusion would be, especially if the man that you laid with is telling you that, nah, I would have stayed with you. Like, I wasn't going nowhere. Me and you could have been together. And I'm sorry, in today's society, now I have to be like, okay, was it his child? You know what I mean? Because we see that on YouTube, videos and stuff, all these little court cases or whatnot. We always find out that, something crazy happened, and that's why, she got rid of the child. I've had conversations with people who've done something like that. So it's not even far-fetched to say that. Again, she's an ex for a reason. But let's continue.
Mike Tyson has doubts before he gets into a ring.
Oh, shoot. So now the dude is going to try to compare what she did to Mike Tyson. Let's back it up a little bit.
Was uncertain, and she had doubts. Mike Tyson has doubts before he gets into a ring. This was an option, and she took that option, and she regrets it now. Why?
Yeah, she wants him to think that she regrets it now. Because, like I said, she doesn't want to be looked at a certain type of way. Who wants to be looked at as a murderer? Who wants shame to be put up on them knowing what they did to the child? And then especially, like I said, I don't know what their relationship is, but in today's time, man, you can't put it past a woman, if she's done something else. So it could go down a rabbit hole. So for her to be shameful, the only shame is she did it and she doesn't want to be looked at a certain type of way. But let's continue.
Option, and she took that option, and she regrets it now. Why do you think, and this is just a thought that just came into my head, why do you think that people dehumanize my Clementine? Why wasn't she human enough for people to help me mourn? Why wasn't she human enough for people to talk about?
And what I'll say to that is, the only person you really need to ask that to is the woman who you laid down with and had a child with. Because the world is cruel, and the world is going to do what it's going to do. But the relationship that you have with somebody, you're supposed to be secure in her. But that's the problem. Like I said, a lot of the times we end up getting with these women for the wrong reasons and not proving them, especially in, matters like this. And then when something like this happens, it feels like betrayal, but we don't even look at them, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how men are. We'll see a woman, just like we be seeing these masculine women, and they pretty, they smell good and they soft. But when you hear them talk, man, they loud, they aggressive, they're rude, they're mean. There are all these things, but you look at them and you're like, but dang, that's a female though. It's the same thing with him. Like, he had some years with her, and I'm sure he had a lot of good times with her. So when she do something like this, it's hard for him to equate that, dang, she's the one that murdered our child. So he'll look at her, you know what I mean, with the same look that I just mentioned about, when we see women as men. So he's like, dang, man, this is the woman that I love, and we had good times, and she told me that she loved me, and we did things together, and she met my family. I told her all my secrets and all those things. So it doesn't compute in your mind, that somebody would do something like that. So, as a man, he's trying to find another person to blame, another reason, to be upset other than with her. Let's continue.
People to help me mourn. Why wasn't she human enough for people to talk about? My mother was given birth too prematurely at 5 months. My daughter was 5 months. I didn't get to say goodbye to my daughter. I didn't know about the abortion until after it happened. I begged her not to do the appointment. She told me that she canceled it.
You see that? He didn't even know about it. So think about what she had to do. She had to call, make some appointments, go get seen, then schedule another day to go up there and get it done, all while telling him, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. She planned the whole thing. It's just like when people make excuses as to why they committed adultery and stuff like that. And it's like, you have to plan that. Like the person that you committed adultery with, y'all had to have a conversation. Y'all exchanged numbers and y'all talked with each other. And then after y'all talked, y'all planned it and said, okay, on this day and this time, and you got to come up with an excuse, for your husband, and I got to come up with an excuse too. And then after we do that, man, somebody got to book the hotel, or, you got to plan all that stuff. And then after you commit it, then you have to live that out afterwards to make sure that your partner never find out. You got to make sure that they never find out. So it's the same thing here. Like, she told you that she wasn't going to murder the child, and then she had to call and make appointments and go get seen. She had to drive there, and the whole, way there, she had to think about it. And then, she had to come up with some stuff to tell you. That's crazy. Let's continue.
My daughter was 5 months, and she was ripped apart. My daughter doesn't get a funeral. My daughter doesn't get respect. As my friend asked, medical testing on a healthy baby. Why? My girlfriend didn't pay for the abortion. The clinic did.
Yeah, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if she paid for it or if they paid for it. And I wouldn't even believe that. I don't believe nothing that she say. There's nothing that she can tell me that would make me believe anything that she says. And I'm sure you can get one for free, but I don't believe anything that this woman is saying. The fact of the matter, like I said, it doesn't even matter because she did it. Free or no free, she did it. Let's continue.
How much money did they make off of my daughter's body? How many other babies did the doctor kill since she's been dead? This has been a month and 3 days. This happened March 12th and 13th. My daughter was conceived October 25th. She was supposed to be born July 20th. My daughter was a person. My daughter is an angel. And I pray for her every single day. I talk to her.
And if you feel that way and you have a lot of things to say about your daughter, I believe it. But there's no way, man, at the same time that you can be dealing with her mother anymore. If you have no reason to be tied to her, like if y'all have no more children together, y'all don't, outside of that, you can just leave, and you should leave. Because listening to you say this, I'm angry. I'm upset. Not a hatred, angry, like, I wish condemnation on the lady, because it's far from that. The Lord is going to deal with that. That doesn't mean that you would have to deal with her. It doesn't mean that. So if I was him, I would hope that he's gone from that situation. Because for me, that would just be a constant reminder. Especially, like I said, the way you talking about your daughter, And I could see the lady behind you crying, and then I could see the other lady of color that's sitting down, as she's got her hand over her head or whatnot. And then you see the lady at the podium, you see her crying. Miss Kristen Hawkins, you can see her crying. So if it's that painful for you, man, I hope that you're not dealing with her mother like that. If you have no other children with her, you need to get far away from her, because that right there should have told you that you never should have been in a relationship with her, because y'all don't see eye to eye. Let's continue.
I still feel like she's there. I feel like on July 20th, my daughter is going to be there. She doesn't get a funeral. I have her sonogram picture the first time I heard her heartbeat. And I bring this up to people and I say, well, she had a heartbeat. Wasn't she a person? And I'm being told she's a fetus, which, by the way, everybody, that's Latin for offspring. Okay? So I don't know why we're speaking Latin. I speak English. And my daughter not only matters, but I do not want my daughter to be forgotten. I want my daughter's story to be talked about. I want her to be remembered. She wasn't just a fetus, and yeah, maybe she was just a 10%, maybe. But she was a lot more than that for me. For 5 months.
Yeah, he's about to say for 5 months. I just heard him utter those words. But I was just gonna say the same thing. For 5 months, you know, at that age, 5 months, they can live outside of the womb. So yeah. And I'm only using that logic because, you know, the ones who are pro-abortion and say that it's just a fetus, they're just trying to say it didn't have any life yet. Yeah, if she would have had to have an emergency C-section, that baby would have been able to live 5 months. So yeah, she was a person. Let's continue.
But she was a lot more than that for me. For 5 months, I'm told by my friends, I'm crying over somebody I never met before.
Hey man, what kind of friends do you have that would say something like that? That's why I say, sisters, you can't get mad at me and just think that I'll be talking about y'all. There's a lot of men out here that has the same mindset that a lot of these women have. So you got to get away from them too. You have to. You know, for them to say some stuff like that, man, especially to someone that they deem as a friend or a brother, to be dismissal like that, it says a lot. You know, sometimes, man, you know, the word tell you that you got to keep, you know, your friends close. Just like you would keep an enemy. You got to keep friends close, because for them to say something like that, that's heartless.
I'm told by people, well, she wasn't even a person. She was just a fetus. She wasn't even a baby. She wasn't fully developed. My daughter was still growing. And my relationship with my daughter was going to grow for the rest of our lives. Why isn't my daughter human enough for people to care? Why isn't my daughter woman enough for her to have a body and for her to have a choice?
And I get like his anger and questioning as to why, and speaking about humanity, but at the same time, there's nothing that we can do about the world. It's just the way that it is. You can only do something about yourself and do your best to find people who are like-minded just like you. So instead of going out and about and then just questioning why the abortion clinics would do it and why the government would allow the clinics to do it, like what human person would do something like that? You got to start with the woman that you got pregnant, who you say is your ex. She was your girlfriend. She's the first one that you have to speak to. She's the one that you need to be asking all these questions about, because you're real forgiving when it comes to her, but you're going to question some people that you don't even know. But one thing that you are sure of is they're evil and they're not good people. So if they're evil and they're not good people, why does she not fall into that same equation? And then, like earlier, you mentioned that you don't blame her, but she's just like them. She's just like them. She's in agreement with them, which is why she didn't listen to you, and she followed through with them. So it's not difficult to figure all these things out. It's right in front of your face. But like I said, we love them so much and we blinded by that. We overlook a lot of things that they do, including murder.
My original question when I was coming up here was, can I see the clamps? I don't want to see the clamps no more. I've heard enough about it and I've seen the pictures. And yeah, the guy said Wi-Fi and Google search. You could Google what it looks like. It's out there. I did. I wouldn't recommend it. I still have nightmares. My daughter was going to be beautiful, but now I don't know where she is. I'm just so.
And I would recommend it. I would recommend that everybody sees it, because you're not going to convince, the total population. But if you can reach one person from doing it, you've done your job, because you don't want them to be talking about their Clementine, do you? In order to help your daughter, who you say that you love, then yeah, you spread that message and you make everybody look at that, whether they want to look at it or not. You make everybody look at that. That's what all of you guys should do, is somehow go and put it in Congress and make every man and woman who show up at an abortion clinic, make them watch the videos. Like, the abortion clinic has to send them away to a hospital or somewhere, a psychologist or something somewhere, and then they have to sit down and they have to watch an abortion. And not just, let's say, one that's like 4 or 6 weeks into her pregnancy. I'm talking about, you got to watch one of those that's 4 to 6 weeks. Then you got to watch like a 3 month, then you got to watch a 6 month, and then you got to watch, if there's one after that, like let's say 8 months or something like that. You have to watch all of it. There's a doctor on here, I can't think of his name. He said he did, performed abortions for like 20 years. He talked about, he had a situation where he took a baby and he smothered the baby because he didn't want the mother to hear the baby cry. They got onto him at the hospital and he had to smother the baby because the mother was like, she didn't want to hear the baby crying. So if he has that on video, they need to play that so people can see it. Don't just show them how we see it on here, like, on your TikTok videos. They got a few performances of them. I don't know if they have them on YouTube because, they block a lot of things, but you can find the videos. They're out there. But at the same time, you can also find the ones where they did some pretty gruesome stuff that they're not supposed to do, and it's under the table. But if you have access to those videos, play all those videos. That's the point. Make all of them watch those videos. Make that mandatory. That's how you help Clementine. Like, as men, we got to do better when it comes to that, man. If we say we are lovers of our people and lovers of our wives and our children and stuff like that, that's how you fight for them. If something happens to your daughter like that, and the mother does that, then you got to go out there and spread the message. You got to keep her name alive by, hey, try to go to Congress and implement a system where everybody got to watch an abortion. Make that mandatory. Then that's how you keep her name alive. But let's continue.
Confused. I get it. I'm just a man. You know what I mean? But men, we're not supposed to have feelings. As a father, because I'm still a father. As a father, I'm just supposed to forget. I'm just supposed to move on. And I'm confused. So my question really isn't for you, because you understand. My question is really for society. Why doesn't my daughter matter? Why wasn't she enough? Why didn't she get a chance to live? And ultimately, no, I'm not blaming my ex. She had doubt.
And see, we got to stop that. I'm not blaming my ex because she had doubt. Okay, she had doubt, but you was there. You was there. And I'm pretty sure you were assuring her that everything was going to be all right, and that you was going to, obviously take care of the child, and everything that they need, you was going to make sure that they got it. And you probably would have taken her back also. So you offered her all these things. And guess what? She still decided to go and do it. So she's got some kind of accountability there, bro. She has to take some kind of accountability, and you got to make her take accountability. Like she's getting off that easy. Like I said, man, I don't even know why he would be talking to her unless they got kids, one or two kids running around already. Other than that, he has no reason to be with her. Let's continue.
Doesn't my daughter matter? Why wasn't she enough? Why didn't she get a chance to live? And ultimately, no, I'm not blaming my ex. She had doubt and she regrets it. Ultimately, this is our government's fault. We've stopped evil laws in the past in America, in Germany, and you guys know what I'm talking about. We came together and we stopped evil laws.
Okay, and I get that. We stopped evil laws in Germany. But whether you was in Germany or in America, you still, as an individual, have to guide your house. Because there's plenty of men who have stepped up. And there's plenty of women who have stepped up and made the decision, that we're going to keep the child. So that's a household thing. Or, you wouldn't have this conversation to begin with if you find somebody that's like-minded, like I said previously. I understand the confusion that he has, like I said, because of the history, but in order to keep your daughter's name alive, I would think that it's best that you would separate from her if you haven't already. But anyway, I appreciate you guys and gals. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the bottom. Until next time, deuces.